Hey guys, Dr. Matt here, and in this video today, I want to share with you 5 keys to fall back in love with your partner in 2025. Today, we're going to be diving into something that I've been seeing with my clients a lot. A lot of my clients seem to be drifting from each other. They're just slowly pulling apart from each other. And I thought for the new year, what if we could figure out some simple tools or levers that can help you lift your love a little bit higher? They say that if you had a lever long enough, you could lift the world. And so if that's the case, then all we need are some smaller levers to lift our relationship, to lift our communication, to lift our connection. And so grab your partner, sit down, bring them, and let's watch these together. The first one I wanted to talk about is simply to push positivity with daily admiration. The research is really clear about the power of positivity in our lives. We are attracted to positive people. We're attracted to people that see the positive things in life. We really are driven by our psyche and by our fight or flight basic influence. We are pushed to always look for the negative. Humans are wired to find the things that aren't working out right because we are here to survive, right? And it only takes one negative bad thing to really push our relationship over. The problem with always looking for the negative or the harmful is we fail to see the positives. And so positivity, it's a very basic lever. And I'm not just saying you got to be Pollyanna-ish and just be all positive. That's not what I'm talking about. What we're talking about is the simple fact that happy couples focus on the good, not the bad. They focus on what's working, not everything that's broken. They actually identify the moments that the difficult times went a little bit better, and they point out those times. We become experts normally in what's wrong in our relationship, but what we really want to become as a lever in our relationship is be focusing on what's really good and what's really right, what's effective, and what really is going to make a difference long-term in the relationship. So as we get into it, there's a simple key to trying to actually create that intentionality about our relationship. And the positive side of it is I want you to start to focus not just on being intentional about being positive, but what if we just started to make a very intentional effort to admire our partner daily? We make a daily habit of admiration. What is something your partner is doing right or doing well that you can pay attention to? John Gottman, one of the great researchers in marriage and family, has found that fondness and admiration are 2 of the most important elements in a marriage. Without having fondness and admiration for your partner, and without them sensing you have that for them, the relationship can't survive. It's going to start to spiral. So that first lever I want you to start to work on is this. And here is the challenge that I want you to try to live with your partner. Try it for a month. Sit down and every day try to find 3 things that you admire about your partner and tell them. What are 3 things you saw them do today that you really thought were positive and that you can appreciate? And then what I'd love you to do is start talking about those positive things. You can write those positive things down at the end of the day. You can both share with each other those things that you both have noticed that were really healthy, that were really good, that you saw your partner do. And especially if there's something that was new that they did that really stood out for you, something that was really positive, something you've been hoping that they would do for a long time. And then the big key to this is start sharing it. And the minute you start sharing the positive things with your partner, guess what happens? They live them more. They do them more. It becomes something really like worth fighting for. Now, it's not just that I'm doing a lot of great things. My partner is actually seeing those things being done. And if we're both making an effort to try harder every day, and more importantly, we're having our partners notice the good that's happening, guess what happens? Boom. We start to multiply the good things. Now, we could try forever to just be mad and upset and blowing them up every day for not doing the dishes. Why didn't you do this? You don't ever say nice things to me. And we could start with the negative, or we can start to find this week where they said that really nice thing to you. And then let's highlight it and shine a great big light on that one thing. One other thing that you can do to show appreciative admiration of your partner is talk positively about them to the other people in your life. Talk about the good things that your partner is doing every day. Highlight that to your friends. Highlight that to their friends. When you're on a date or a double date with each other and you're out with friends, share with your friends the coolest thing that your partner did that week. You could simply show your partner that I'm always going to be a really positive advocate for you. The more you focus on what you appreciate, the more your relationship will improve. That's the principle. Make sense? Pretty basic, right? Let's go to lever number 2 now. Lever number 2 is to stay in sync by turning toward each other. We call it attunement. And attunement is simply the ability that you and I should have if we're in a relationship to be attuned, to have each other's attention, to have each other's focus, this synchronicity, they call it, between two human beings. Human beings are wired to be in touch with each other. We are wired to actually resonate and feel what the other is feeling. They call it, the researchers call it pairing and sharing. And so if I actually give enough attention to pay attention to you, our mirror neurons, our neurons will actually pair to each other. Kind of like a Bluetooth pairing, we pair it to each other, and then we actually share similar feelings. We've all experienced this at one place or another in our relationship. If you ever have cried because someone else was crying, if you've just been talking to them and the minute they start to get emotional, you start to notice you're getting emotional, that is a moment of turning and getting into this synchronicity, being in sync. And the number one impediment to this synchronicity that we're all losing right now are our cell phones. Our technology is starting to get so in between us that we are no longer falling and being in sync with each other. We're not sharing the same emotions. We're not sharing the same moments. We're not sharing the same conversations, even when we're having them. Because one of us might be on our phone and one of us might be distracted by driving or whatever. So if you really want to make this second lever work, you've got to turn to each other. And the turn is so vitally important. In fact, we call it a bid and a turn. And John Gottman, again, one of the great researchers in marriage and family, has done a ton of research on the bid and the turn. The bid is when our partner says something to us that is engaging an emotional response, like, hey, baby, how was your day? That isn't a bid or an invitation to turn. The research in Gottman's work shows that if we stop what we're doing, turn, and actually respond, that bid and turn engages each other and creates this sense of synchronicity between us. It attunes us to each other. And he found that the healthiest marriages that he studied do this regularly. 85+% of the time, the healthiest marriages are bidding and turning. Bidding and turning. And the least effective marriages, the ones that most likely led to divorce, were the ones that were doing it less than 35% of the time. They just weren't turning enough. So ask yourself the question, are you guys bidding and turning enough in your relationship? A lot of people think that the romance and these big gestures and the Caribbean cruises and the expensive dinners and the lavish gifts, they think that's the key. And let me let you in on the big secret. It's not. If you really, truly want to have a long-lasting relationship with your partner, it's all about bidding and turning. It's about spending more time face to face. By the way, this is how you fell in love, if you remember. When you fell in love with your partner, it was having those dinners and looking into each other's eyes and talking. You were incredibly attuned. And if you feel like that spark is going away, it's probably going away because we're not as attuned as we need to be. It's about those small, everyday moments that make the difference. It's about putting the phone down when your partner is talking. It's about laughing and paying attention to their jokes. And when they're laughing, getting connected to them enough that you laugh. My wife sometimes just laughs at me. Like I do a lot of this like speaking and speeches, and she has heard every one of my jokes about 50 times, but she still laughs. And why she laughs is because she's attuned. She's into the moment and she's sharing the moment with everyone. And when she hears everyone else laughing, she's still laughing at the jokes. We can all be more connected and more in sync than we currently are. And it's not enough really to just buy the gifts. It's not enough to just be intimate and have sex. It's about attunement. It's about truly becoming one with each other by sharing our kind of our neural pathways a little bit more and being there, right? Remember again, the healthiest couples turn towards each other 83% of the time. Whenever there's a bid, we turn. So how are you doing at turning when your partner's speaking? Here's your challenge. This is the thing I'd love you to try. Try it for the next month. Talk to your partner about it, and let's make a concerted effort to turn to each other throughout the day, to try to make more eye contact with each other, to try to put down the distractions and be more present. These little micro moments of connection are the key to keeping a marriage strong. If you get in the habit of not having these micro moments, then you get in the habit of not actually needing to have your partner in your life. But the minute you do that, you will immediately start to drift apart. Okay? Basic challenge, make the commitment the next month to turn towards each other more, make more eye contact, put down your distractions, and be present for those micro moments. Make sense? Awesome. Let's go to lever number 3 now, right? Lever number 3 to make a relationship and elevate the relationship to higher and higher levels is to serve each other with sincere charity every day. There is a quote in the Bible that basically says that to love somebody, you have to lose yourself, right? By losing yourself is how you actually find yourself. So when we love and serve somebody, two things happen. We not only show them we love them and care about them and meet their need, but even more importantly, what we may be doing is we actually may be finding a deeper connection to ourselves with this person. This third lever is about service. We got in our relationship together because we wanted to be able to be with somebody and to serve them, right? And in fact, that's how most of us probably fell in love when we were first all chemically driven and charged up. We were so into each other, we would stay up all night just to talk to you. I'd drive 2 hours just to come help you do something because we were so in that chemical stage. So was it the chemistry that made us just serve, or is it the serving that brings the chemistry? At first, one of the things I teach is most of us are just driven by a lot of chemistry. We already have the chemistry on board, therefore we go serve a whole lot more. The chemistry drives the serving. However, that works awesome, maybe for the first 2 to 3 years of a marriage. But eventually, your chemistry is going to normalize and you're going to have way more clarity about who you're married to. And at that point, the only way to create a long-term, enduring relationship, and by the way, this advice is coming from somebody that's been married almost 34 years. The only way to make it work is to create more chemistry by actually going and serving somebody. I have found just in my own life, raising 6 kids, that I love my kids more because I've served them. We love people more that we serve. We don't love people that just serve us. In fact, we actually think about your own life. What has given you the power and the ability to love somebody deeper and deeper and at higher and deeper levels? It wasn't just the people that always took care of us. A lot of times it's the people that we were forced or compelled to help take care of. And when you start taking care of somebody else by thinking about their needs and sincerely acting charitably towards them, it comes from your heart. And when you're not expecting anything in return, what you actually feel is a deeper love. The basic belief is your partner needs to feel loved. Each and every one of us. If we're not good at actively trying to love them and not love them our way, but love them their way, then we're setting ourselves up. And we probably won't be able to feel the love. And then what we'll do is we'll start cycling back and start noticing how they're not loving us. The ultimate objective, I think, in a relationship isn't that we all just have the perfect partner that knows how to perfectly serve us and everything is just easy and perfect. I don't think that exists. I think what you do instead is you find somebody that's different from you, that you love and are attracted to, and then over time, we learn to love them. And we learn to love them their way. We learn to do the things they like to do. And we may not even feel like it in the moment. One of the greatest lessons I really have learned about this service is a lot of times love isn't going to always be something you feel first. Sometimes it's something you have to do first. When I would get up in the middle of the night to go take care of my kids and to change a diaper or to get them a bottle, I never necessarily felt like I wanted to get up. I just kind of had to because I had a kid and we were obligated, right? And we love them and we want to take care of them. But when I would go up those stairs and I'd pick up my baby and get them out of their bed and I'd go put them down and change them, and then I'd walk them down and get a bottle and I'd feed the bottle and start to rock them, the most amazing thing would happen to me. I would start to feel more love toward that kid. And the love wasn't there at that depth when I got up. It grew to that depth when I got in. Love grows when we get in. Love grows when we do the harder thing. Love grows for our partner when we do the thing that is not natural to us to just do, and we learn to go do it. My wife loves socializing. She loves hanging out with people. She loves talking to people. She could go nonstop. And so when I go out of my way to get her into social situations, and I'd rather go home and go to bed, and I can get her into her social situation and serve her that way, I feel better. I still am not always loving every particular moment, but I'm loving watching my wife really feel loved in that moment. And usually, because she knows that that's not easy for me, that's usually where she knows I'm making a bigger attempt to love her way. The distinction is simply this. It's charity. Okay. And let's be clear about what charity is. And some of us hate that word. I don't want my husband to have charity for me. I think you do. Charity isn't about just serving your whole family. It's about doing something specifically for your partner. Something that says, I see you. Something that says, I care about you. Something that says, I love you. When I put the needs of my partner before myself, I start to grow that charity. And charity, it's not an old-fashioned idea. And it's not just something we do at church. And it's not just something when they pass the plate around and you add a little donation. Charity is where you as a human being care more about the welfare and the benefit of another. And that is a level of our relationship that we need to grow. And the only way I've ever found to grow it is to lose myself in the service of my partner. Now, and everyone's going to be like, be careful. We can't always serve. Sometimes you've got to be served. I totally agree. And that's these other relationship skills that we've been talking about, right? Finding the good things in each other, being positive, being appreciative. And we also have to get good at starting to become not what I always was and not what I always had been, and not what my wife has always been. Our goal is to become something uniquely better together. And the only way to do that is that each of us needs to let go of a little bit of us in order to find the deeper us, the us that we have with other people, the us that we have of profound service and giving and loving. So here's your to-do. Here's your action item that I'd love you to try to implement this lever. I want you to ask yourself every day, when you get up in the morning, for example, and I like to do it when I'm brushing my teeth. I ask myself, what is one thing I can do for my partner today to show them love? And I literally make it a goal. Sometimes when I'm brushing my teeth, I might walk out and look at my wife's planner that's always out, and I can see what her day looks like. And I think about my day, and I think about what our schedule is going to look like. And then in that day, I try to ask myself that question: what's the one thing I can do today for my partner to show that I love them? Or what's the one thing I can do today to love my partner their way? And then I just make a simple little goal. And I call that the daily special. And I go try to then deliver that special sometime in the day. Now, if this is working right and I do this activity, my wife should probably notice it, and it might make it onto that list of 3 things that she saw me do today that made her feel special or that made her think of me in a loving way. It's a powerful way to serve each other. So I challenge you and your partner, take a break, go sit down and commit to each other. Let's practice each of these levers together and let's make this relationship even better, right? And you personally, I want you to see what happens to you after 1 month of setting one goal a week, one goal a day to actually connect deeper to your partner. What does that do to you? What gratitude does it create for you? What does a little bit more intentional charity toward another do for you personally? Does that make sense? Notice, none of these levers are incredibly overwhelming. They're just little things. Turning to each other, noticing the positive, and being charitable. The fourth lever I want to talk about is let your partner influence you. Does that make sense? Does that sound like a scary one? A lot of us are really good at trying to influence each other. But what we're not very good at is letting our partner influence you. Happy couples act as a team. They respect each other's thoughts. They respect each other's opinions and feelings. They don't bulldoze their way through decisions. They don't act unilaterally. They actually are open to being influenced by each other. And they find common ground. Instead of having to have every discussion be a debate about where we should go tonight, are you open to let your partner influence you? Because if you are, there's power there. There's power when all of a sudden you are open to their ideas. You're open to their quirks and their weird and distinct ways of doing things. The challenge of getting stuck in our relationships usually also creates a kind of a stagnation of emotion and chemistry. When neither of us are open to each other anymore, and I'm not going to go do the thing my wife wants to do, and I don't want to watch the show she wants to do, and instead we just go watch our own shows, then guess what happens? We slowly are drifting, and our chemistry of being together starts to fade. If your husband loves a really awesome action movie that just is full of guns and blow up explosions and bombs going off, if they're into that and you just aren't doing that because it's just, you don't want to go there. What are we losing by trying to go into that show and see something or create a conversation or actually just have an experience? The research is really clear that, for example, if we both jump out of an airplane together and the incredible stir of emotion that's created by that, and we hit our parachutes and we land on the ground and then we hug each other, did you know that your brain will actually attribute all of that chemistry to your partner? So if you lack chemistry in your life, it might be because we don't have enough common connection. We maybe haven't been open to enough influence of each other to actually dare to go jump out of that airplane or dare to take that dance class and go learn to do ballroom dance with your partner. Or you haven't dared to go on that one trip, or you haven't wanted to experiment in the bedroom, or whatever your issue is. The power in our relationships, though, comes when we don't have to be the thing that always has to have our way. The power comes when we can actually be open to let our partner give us their ideas, and we take them. Here's a question I ask my clients all the time. Would you rather be right, have it your way, or would you rather be happy? Sometimes being right makes the other person surrender their happiness. So at some point, we need both of us benefiting in the relationship. Think about your relationship. Is your relationship really solid at both of you being open to being influenced by the other? What was the last discussion you guys had that convinced you that your wife's way was right? Or is it always you're fighting for your way to be right? Every one of us have a different way that we could actually be more open to influence. And every one of us has other reasons why we're really not so open to the influence. But in order to create a happier and healthier relationship, let's try for the next month to figure out a way that I can be more open. I can open my heart to want to go do the restaurant my wife would want to go to, or to go watch this movie that my wife would want to watch. Even if it's a chick flick, and you hate chick flicks. Just get open enough to go figure out why she wants to see it. And why does the Hallmark movie matter so much to her? That might be a great discussion. See, in our relationships, we either have to engage these interactions with either a discovery mode, we call it, or a defensive mode. And if we have discovery mode on, then I'm out there trying to discover and be curious about what my wife would want, her interests, right? But if I turn on my defensive mode, then I'm just trying to defend and make sure we don't do it her way, we do it my way. Two people that get into defensive mode are going to ensure that we don't get anywhere in this relationship. Then what it is it's always one person winning or another person winning instead of both of us winning. What would happen if you could actually understand why your husband loves those action movies? Why does he love a documentary about World War II? To you, it's like, it's too bloody, I can't stand it. But if we could actually step into his shoes and figure out what it means for him, it could change a lot. It could change a deeper understanding of your partner, but it could also take you to a better way to maybe connect to him, to communicate with him. It might give you more metaphors about life. I have friends that their favorite thing to do as a father-son activity is they go watch Band of Brothers, that World War II saga that talks about the history of World War II. But what he likes about it is with his sons, he lets his daughters do it too, but his sons love it because it creates this bond of like brotherhood. But it would be fascinating for our wives to understand why that would matter to us and to have those conversations. See, the power of being influenced is you open your heart up and you let your partner lead once in a while. In your heart, you let them take you on a journey in their world from their perspective. You let their thoughts, their ideas start to matter to you and impact you. Make sense? That's the goal. I just want us all to be more influenced, to being changed, to being strengthened, to being enlightened, and to actually having different activities that your partner might like more and some that you might like more. So here's your activity to go try to do this. This week, I want you, and for the next month if you can, I want you to intentionally listen to your partner. Get involved in something that you know is important to them. If they come home and they play pickleball all the time, hit them and talk about them and find out and dig deep and go really deep into the conversation about pickleball. Even if it doesn't even interest you, dig, and try to understand it. Maybe go play pickleball with them this week. Maybe go watch them play. Just show up one day when they're playing with their friends and surprise her and watch her. And just talk to her about it. If they invite you to anything, I challenge you, go take it. If my wife says, Matt, do you want to go for a walk? And in my head, I'm like, I'd really rather not. I'm going to get up and let's go for the walk. Let's see what happens in our relationship when we let our partner live a little bit of their life with us. And we actually dive in a little bit deeper into their specific differences. And sometimes this works even best when the differences are really contrasted, when they're really different. That's a great place to maybe try out a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper, and try to experience why. But one of the things that you could also do is not just the activity, but try to understand the information, the rationale, the feeling behind it. There is power, folks, when we are all willing to be influenced by our partner. And what you're going to find out in the end is it actually makes your life a lot more interesting. And it makes your relationship a lot closer because your partner knows you're truly willing to let them in and to let them become a part of your life. Now, the final and fifth lever that I want to talk about to help you take your relationship to a higher level is I want you guys to dream big. I want you to have a really big shared dream or goal. It's not enough to just be living every day, but I want you to actually intentionally try to build a goal that you're both working on, something that is now ours. I mean, we automatically think of that. We're like, yeah, we'll have a kid someday. No, I'd love you to have the goal of getting the house or getting a new apartment or the goal of finishing a part of your house or the goal of one of you getting to school and finishing your degree. Whatever the goal is, I would love you to start to talk about sharing this dream together. It's a really interesting thing, because what I find with a lot of the people that are fighting and that I'm helping to like work through their conflicts, a lot of them don't have very many dreams of the future together. That's something they've kind of quit doing because of all the contention. And then if you look back, they also don't have a lot of shared dreams or goals that were accomplished because the conflict got in the way. So what happens is, if we stop dreaming together, then we actually stop being together. We should be in a relationship where we have some shared goals and dreams. And some of those dreams could be my partner's dream that I buy into. And some of them could be, our dream of helping our kids to get their dreams to happen. But I want you two as a couple to have a shared dream together and get into exciting discussions, the vision boards, the talking about it. I would love you to go look at the houses. And even if you can't afford one yet, but we're going to start talking about where we'd want to live and what we'd want our house to look like and why we'd want it to be that way and how many rooms would we have. Happy couples help each other realize their dreams. They talk about their goals. They share their bucket lists, and they make plans to build a life that they'll both feel loved in. So if you're feeling stuck in your marriage and you need some energy and a re-energizing moment, the relationship might just be needing some new reach, something bigger, a bigger challenge, but one that we share together. Right now, as I'm talking about it, can you think of something in your relationship that you know is a dream you kind of both have, but we haven't gone deep and talked about it enough? Is there something already there? What would happen if you guys sat down and watched this video together, talked about it, and as part of your goal for the next month, let's start getting just one shared goal, one shared thing that we're going to both start putting our energy, our focus, our attention, our resources toward, and let's start talking about it. Let's start having meetings about it. Let's start making it happen. So here's your assignment. Pretty basic, right? Again, you can do it just for now, or you could do it for 1 month. I challenge you to do either one, but I want you to sit down with your partner and make some goals. Make the goals. Maybe what's the big bucket list thing that we'd like to do? Maybe is there an activity? I have one of my kids right now that is planning a trip to Japan. And by the way, it's a trip I've never heard any of my kids say they wanted to make. But it's a trip that my son and his wife have been so excited to go do. They're getting ready for it. They're planning it, and it has re-energized their relationship. So what are some goals that you want to accomplish this year? What are some goals that you want to accomplish big time? You can make your goals enormous. Like someday we want to be retiring when we're 55. What's a goal that you would like to accomplish just by the end of the year? And maybe start putting together our shared goals and start talking about those shared goals. Create a plan to make it happen and make that goal happen. I remember my wife and I, when we were young marrieds, we had no money. Every day I'd come home from work and we'd feed our daughter and we'd go on a walk. And every time when we were walking around this neighborhood. We couldn't even afford a house in the neighborhood. And we were always talking about how someday we're going to buy a house and what that would look like and what we're doing. And what it made is that talk and that walk, it actually eventually manifested the conditions, the opportunities to create the house that we wanted, that dream experience, that we could raise our family in a really awesome house with a big yard that they could run around in. Powerful, especially as we age in our lives. Sometimes these goals disappear. Sometimes they escape us, right? They slide away. And some of it might be just because we're having less hope, but it can't be that way. So whatever stage you are at in your relationship, let's get together and let's start living these levers, okay? I've given you 5 of them. So let's do a quick recap of all 5 of them. Number 1, I want you to push positivity with daily admiration. Find and share 3 things you admire about your partner every day. 3 things that you saw them do, 3 things that they did that you want to thank them for. Every day, push positivity with daily admiration. Number 2, Stay in sync by turning toward each other. Make more eye contact with each other. Turn toward your partner for bids and then connect to them and drive a little bit closer synchronicity with each other by turning towards each other. Number 3, serve with sincere charity every single day. Do something specific each day to show your partner you're thinking about them and you love them their way. You could ask that question, what's the most important thing I can do today to love my partner their way? Number 4, let your partner influence you. Open your heart and listen to your partner's ideas and dreams. And do it. If they say, I'd really like to go see this show, and it's a show you're like, maybe you ought to go with your girlfriends. Don't say that. Go with her. Go see that show. Go see that play. Go learn that hobby and do that thing that your partner likes to do. Get involved enough that you're being influenced, right? And the 5th thing is to dream big and build a shared future together. Set goals together. Work toward that shared dream, and slowly, and not even so slowly, honestly, I promise, if you'll just do this for 1 month, you're going to see your love deepen and taken to a completely higher level. This isn't brain surgery. This is basic principles of what makes relationships work. These are simple levers. They work. You can kind of intuitively already see that they'll work. They're things you've already done historically that have worked, and they're things that will work if you keep doing them going into the future. But take consistent action on these levers. And if you can't do all of the levers, fine. Don't overwhelm yourself, but take the next week and do one of them. Then the next week, the second week of the month, do another different one of these levers. Try one a week for the next 5 weeks, however you want to roll this out. But the key in the end is let's make our family and our relationship, most importantly, our priority. That's why we do this Becoming One program, because in the end, it's about us learning to get together and be one with our partner, to learn how to be one with ourselves, one with our God, and one with our partner, and then one with the people around us. This is a powerful tool, right? And we can't do it without you. That's why we built the Becoming One community. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. You could even share this episode with anyone who could use a little love boost in their life. And until next time, keep lifting your love. We'll see you next time.